Hello. Okay. I was like, what? Okay. I got a notification that I went live. All right. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly how you can find out which line you're living on or living near. If you saw the post that I made about astrocartography, which is basically location astrology. So if you put your zodiac, your horoscope, your astrology chart over a map, right? There's different lines that correspond with the different planets. So if you're living on a Pluto line, you can have a very tumultuous life. If you're living on a Uranus line, very unpredictable things can happen. But you can also have like some very inventive, forward-thinking thoughts. Like if you're an inventor, like that might be really beneficial to you. Or if you're on a Neptune line, you can have a really spiritual experience. But also things can disappear and go missing. So there's good and bad. There's pros and cons to each one. I would say go based on your understanding or your knowledge of each planet and what each planet represents. So if you understand what the sun line or what the sun represents, you'll understand how the sun line is going to correspond in your chart. But also you need to take into account your aspects. So this is some advanced stuff, but if you have a basic understanding of astrology, you can still play around with it and see like at least which line you're living on. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you how you can. I got permission to use Alicia's chart, so I'm going to blow this up. This is astro.com. So this is the site that I would recommend for you to use to find it. You're going to click these little three lines right here. If you're on the mobile version, it looks very similar, so don't worry. And then you go down to, excuse me, my leg itches, free horoscopes, okay? And then you're going to click locational astrology. Then go to astroclick travel. From here, I'm going to select Alicia. No, wrong Alicia. I'm going to select Alicia's chart. Where did it go? I know it's in here. There we go. She allowed me to use hers as an example. So we're going to look at where she is. So this, I haven't selected any aspects. This is just the lines. It can get pretty overwhelming. So we're just gonna look at this right here. So I know for a fact this is where she was born right here, Pennsylvania. So I know she lives in Houston. So she's closest to a Neptune line, between the Neptune and the North Node line. So that's actually really good, especially for spirituality, being close to this Neptune line. So if she ever goes to San Angelo, even Lubbock, Amarillo, or let's see, yeah, Lubbock. These are really close to Abilene, Midland, Odessa. If she ever traveled to any of these places, she could likely have a really spiritual experience, as well as going like to Monterrey, Mexico, or Acapulco. So, and then she got her North Node line is going straight through Honduras. So, if she wanted to go to her sun line, let's say, because there's multiple sun lines, right? Because it's based on the angles of the chart, which are ascendant and descendant, which are corresponding opposition, and then the Imam Koli, which is the IC, and the Midhaven, which is the MC. Medium Koli. I'm mispronouncing it, but that's not the point. They're opposite. So it's the cusp of your first house and your seventh house, ascendant and descendant being the seventh house, your IC being the cusp of your fourth house, and then the DC or the MC. I'm sorry, I said the DC. Then the MC, which is your midhaven. I know, sorry, it's a little confusing. So let's look for her. Let's look for her midhaven sun line. Let's look for where that is. I'm gonna zoom out a little. Okay, so her sun line, her midhaven sun line is going through Russia and Africa, East Africa. So it's going through Saudi Arabia. So if she wanted to go find herself or something like that, she could definitely travel to this part of the world. And then you got like it's crossing her Uranus line here, crossing the Neptune line here, crossing the Saturn line right here. So of course those energies are gonna, correspond. She's got a Chiron line right here. So Chiron could probably make you face like your wounds, and you could go through some deep healing. And then when you have these spots right here, so let's see, she's got a Venus zenith spot in Africa. Venus MC. So if she ever went to this spot, this place of the world, Angola, they might actually really, really well. I think that's actually the ascendant. But she could find. I know she's in a relationship, but if she were looking for a relationship, she could find love, or she could find a passion that she loves to do for work. She could just meet other, like have really interesting friendships or bonds that take place here. She could just fall in love with all kind of different things about the scenery, the culture. Um, just an example. So this is Angola zenith spot here. So it tells you what the zenith spot is, a small circle on the line that indicates a place where Venus is in the zenith. This is the maximum. Uh, this is where the maximum of this line effect is felt. So if she wanted to go experience a deep transformation, she could go to this Pluto zenith spot. So it gets really deep. She's got a Sun midhaven spot in Madagascar. I think that's pretty cool. I have a Jupiter zenith spot covering basically the entire island of Puerto Rico, and I believe part of the Dominican Republic. But yeah, she's got Sun line going through Brazil, but also Mars line. So there could be a lot of activity. If she wanted to go get in shape, she might have a lot of energy there. So that might be a good move. But yeah, it gets really deep. Um, so yeah, you can look at your chart and find where you are living, where you want to travel. So if I select with harmonious aspects, you see it gets really crazy. So now let's look at where she lives. I'll just zoom in. Oh shoot. All right. So now when we take into consideration those aspects, she's got Pluto trine her midhaven. So there could be lots of changes when it comes to her career, her public appearance, deep changes, deep, transformational permanent changes that take place. So lots of career changes. But then there's this Saturn. What's this aspect? Is it sextile? I can't really tell. I think it's a sextile. Yeah, it's a harmonious aspect. So it has to be a sextile because it's not a conjunction. So this Saturn sextile, the ascendant, that can be good. That can be like slow and steady wins the race. That's the vibe it's giving me. So I feel like it's a pretty harmonious spot based on this alone. Now let's look at disharmonious aspects. All right, so actually there aren't any disharmonious aspects near her living area where she is. So we've got Neptune square the ascendant and Neptune IC here. So again, this could be a place where there's some spiritual transformation, some challenges that are dealt with, some crazy dreams, but also there could be some mysterious happenings, maybe even some ESP, or she could have visions or see things that other people can't see or things like that, like some paranormal, that's the word. She could experience some paranormal things take place, for example, on a line like this, or in with that aspect like that. So that's just an example, very very basic example of something you can try to play around with. So you can look at your chart, find where you do live, find a place that you want to travel to. If you're not really sure about it, it's not a service that I offer because I'm still learning and I don't feel comfortable enough doing a reading, but I could definitely do a consultation with you. You know what I mean? And take a look at it and give you my honest opinion based on what I see and what I understand from it. But then I can also take a quick glance at your chart and see like what it is that you're actually looking for when it comes to traveling anyway. So there's still some insight that I can give you. So yeah, I just wanted to get to come on and give you an example of how you could pull that up and where to go to find that type of chart. And you can just zoom in and find the different cities and find the lines that you're really closest to. I would just look at the plain chart, like with those solid lines. I wouldn't add the harmonious or disharmonious aspects because that could just confuse you unless you do understand how the aspects work. In which case, go for it, but don't overwhelm yourself. And yeah, if you have questions, just let me know. I hope this was helpful. Please give a like, share to a friend, and thanks for watching. Peace, love, and light.